What is up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great pre-show. It is a pleasure to see you. It is a pleasure to have you. And it's going to be a pleasure hosting you guys today for what I am told is going to be the best day of action. A lot of people like Christmas Day. We like the third Christmas Day. I don't know. I don't celebrate the one where you get a lot of different Christmases. I just get one. But actually, no, I'll do the Spanish Christmas as well. There we go. That's going to work. I'm here joined by two of my good friends. One, Tim Freeman and Jake Watson. Let's go first to Jake Watson. Jake, how are you feeling today, sir?
Raf, I'm feeling amazing. I mean, it's true. Day 3, if you haven't been tuning in, today's the day that business picks up. Day 3 of the PGF World Season 6. I am so excited. The energy has only improved since day 1.
And let's go ahead and cut on over to our good friend, one, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm stoked for day 3. Today is the day where you have to make your mark. If you've been static and you haven't put points on the board, you got to do it today or the game is done for you. I'm super happy to be here, and I can't wait for the action on day 3, Raf.
Me neither, and I have to tell you guys, it is a pleasure to have you. So, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get straight to our board. We have a lot of topics to get through today, and I'm very excited about it because I did learn some information in the time that I went to do pre-work to now being here, but we'll get to that in just a second, you guys. But we're going to start with some score recaps, and to start us off, Tim, you're going to tell us how the individuals are doing so far here at the PGF after just 1-2 days of action.
Yeah, thanks, Raf. So, not a lot has changed at the top. We have Asari, Thompson, and Sattler at the leaderboard. 3 newcomers, 3 breakout stars, I would say, for the PGF. As we drop down, we start to see some more familiar names with Evers. Varella's got his name up on the board, and then we got Elijah Carlton making a push. So some surprises in the sense that there's a lot of newcomers up on the board right now. Some of the big names are still pretty low. Canuto, Barch, I'm looking for those guys to try to make a statement. But overall, the board hasn't changed too much in terms of the guys at the top. Today's the day they're going to have to make it happen.
Well, I'm here now to tell you a little bit about how the individual teams are doing, and there's been a lot of talk about one team in particular. The team that is kind of running away with it right now is X-Marshall, and the big question is, can anybody stop them? Mathematically, yes, they can. Here's why. X-Marshall comes in at 49 points currently. That is a significant amount, especially when you consider that the lowest points for a team is one Epic Roll with 12. Black Rifle isn't far behind with 10, and you're going to see here, actually, if you reverse that, it's supposed to be Black Rifle's 10 and Epic Roll is 12. However, First Form is actually at 35. So 35 is well within striking distance. That's essentially being a couple kills away from being right back in it. As you know, there's still 30 matches of action that you will see here today. So I'm very excited to see how this all shakes out. And you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about seeing how our fantasy teams are doing. And here to talk a little bit more about that is one, Jake Watson.
Well, yesterday, reading the fantasy draft, Raf, you had a big celebration behind me. But let's take a look at the board of different fantasy picks that we had chosen. Starting out, coming in, Tim Freeman, your team, Elijah Carlton, leads that team. Let's take a look at your point total and see how you've improved since yesterday. Right there, you're seeing 29 points, so definitely a lot better than yesterday, Tim. I commend you for that. Let's move on to the next board.
Thank you.
And we'll see the next team, which is my team. Of course, I had a lot of faith in my team, but let's take a look at my team total. And my team total is going to be Unknown at the moment, but that's okay.
Oh, it just
because
slid behind him. You know what happened? It slid behind him. I saw what happened.
Sorry,
I could see it. There we go.
Oh,
I
there you
keep
go.
my team points close to the vest, but 33 for me. So I believe that's actually more than you, Tim. No big deal. Moving on to the next one. I'm actually really happy that we have 33 points. Look at that. My gosh. All right, next one. Mr. Egghead Warrior himself. You guys can tune in to the commentary when the action kicks off. Let's see how his point total is doing. Also 33, so tied up with Egghead. I'm sure he'll have something to say about that. And finally, I'm sure this will be an absolute spectacle. Let's see RAF ESPARZA's team point total. And that also went behind him.
How many points I have.
Let's see. How many points does he have?
Team, how good they're doing.
Well, you know what? Actually, not as much of a team discrepancy in terms of points as yesterday. Only 10 points in the lead. So I wouldn't get too high on your horse at the moment, Raph. I would go sit back down and carry on coordinating the pre-show.
You get so testy when I'm over here. You don't like
because I don't trust any jiu-jitsu guy behind my back, especially not you with all of your antics on the grappling hour and verbal tapcasts that you do with all the athletes.
I ruined the pre-show.
I've heard about RAF Guard.
Yes, RAF Guard is known for its offense.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Let's go back to us, guys. All right. Let's go down this list a little bit further. We're going to go to our next. This is a good one. I like this because if you guys missed any of the action, we're going to bring you some of our favorite moments. And we're going to start by asking what your favorite submission of the night is. And Tim, it looks like we're going to go ahead and start with you, sir.
Thanks, Raph. So we have Cameron Hurd against David Evers. They're both in a leg lock shootout with Hurd catching the outside heel hook. David Evers catching the outside heel hook there. His thighs were too much for Cam Hurd to handle. Cam Hurd also had a fight with John Combs, and we could see Combs injured his left groin here, it appears, or his hip. He tried to stay in the fight and protect that, and you could see he was very guarded on his left side. He's wincing, not very comfortable. He did manage to stay through the match here, but we will not see him today in action. He could come back in the tournament, but it may impact his ability to get up on that leaderboard as we move forward.
All right, thank you for that. Jake, why don't you walk us through some of your favorite submissions from yesterday?
Yeah, I got a couple of highlights that I want to share as well. Daniel Sadler gets the exclusive toehold of the PGF regular season over Kevin Sherrill. He's been a firecracker in more ways than one. Just so impressive to watch, so explosive. And speaking of explosiveness, Jed Thompson takes a week off of school to catch that submission over Matt Elkins. My goodness, it's so cool to see a young phenom get to make his name known and shake up the grappling world. And you can see Brandon McCatherin's like, I'm glad I put that guy in the PGF World Season 6.
Looks
so
like
impressive.
Nobody was happier than the commish. I have some news. Why don't we go to my clips right over here? And Nathan, man, on a mission. Look at this. He's taking out a raccoon. He doesn't even care. He basically says, give me your neck. If you don't want to give it, I'll take it, and gets the submission right there. Props to him. But it's the celebration afterwards. You could feel him counting out the numbers and telling people, get excited, get motivated. And we carried that a little bit further. Now, please don't blink or you're going to miss it. You're going to see Canuto coming in for a flying armbar. And that put him on the board for the very first set of points, to the point where even Mike John was like, yo, that was cool. It happened to me. I wish it didn't, but that was very impressive. And I have to tell you guys, the news I have to share with you is that Renato Canuto was awarded the submission of the night yesterday, and I think it's well-deserved.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Congratulations to him. I believe he is the G-Shock submission of the night, and like I said, man, nothing shocking about that. So let's get now to our next update. So we have a little category here, which is there are some things happening behind the scenes. We're going to try and give you guys the most updates that we can. So we thought we'd just categorize it into this particular area. And I'm going to start with you, Jake. Do you have some information for us?
Yeah, I do. So John Combs suffered, as you described in that clip yesterday, Tim. He did suffer an injury, and that will take him out of day 3 of the PGF World Season 6. And we're unsure as to what the degree of the injury is. We know that he is seeking medical attention and the advice of professionals, but we'll keep you guys posted as to whether or not he will continue in the PGF World Season 6 regular season or if he's out of the tournament. As of right now, he's just out for the day.
So, yes, we will find out more word about that when we have more updates. We will definitely try to bring them to you, but for a current reason, he will not be continuing today, which statistically may put him out. So More to come on that. Please stay tuned. But he does have an alternate filling in for him, so we wish Sam the very best in this. And Tim, we're going to get to you in a second, but I wanted to give you guys a quick little update on my side. So our update from my perspective is this. Yesterday, it was kind of interesting that we had advertised that somebody was going to come on the show, and they weren't able to make it. Now, I understand, things come up. I get it, bro. It's a hectic time. But I was surprised that the person who didn't show up didn't inform me, and I said, okay, that happens. But when we booked another guest in his stead, he was definitely in the comment section, which begs the question, Elijah Carlton, what's up, man? Do you not like us anymore? I just want to know why. And you know what? Here's my invitation to you. How about you come tonight onto the show? There's a nice little chair we can go ahead and pull up for you, and we'll be happy to talk with you about what other commitments you had. Because to me, we made fun of Kevin when he had a spa day, but it looked like you took a spa day off of this broadcast. So hopefully we'll see you a little bit later and catch up. But Tim, I'm going to look over to you because I think right now you have a clip that is not for the faint of heart. So please, everybody, be advised, if you need to look away once you kind of get where we're going, feel free to do so. Tim?
Yeah, we have Kevin Beering here. It looks like his ear is about to give birth to a baby ear. Actually, what that is cauliflower ear. Don't eat it. The Black Rifle coach, Dean Lister, is on drainage duty here, just trying to pull out some of the gunk that is accumulated in Beering's ear. It looks like they did an okay enough job here. It obviously is going to be really painful. Beering managed to put on headgear and get back out to Block 3 last night, and he actually was able to get a break on Jamie Carnell. So obviously it's not impacting him too much. It could make it hard to sleep, but it'll be interesting to see how that impacts his performance tonight out on the mats. Cauliflower ear, no fun, but I think he's hearing okay. So,
well, we want to give a big shout out to Dean Lister for stepping in. He's not even his coach,
coming
in to help out. And big thanks to our friends over at Spiral Out Media for providing that clip. They're doing such a great job getting a lot of behind the scenes footage that maybe you won't even see yet. It's spicy. And if you weren't paying attention last night, there was a little bit of an altercation, and that footage has been blowing up. So if you haven't seen it yet, go on over to Instagram at Spiral Out Media. Catch out both sides, because they're telling you a story that is happening behind the scenes that sometimes we don't even know. Yesterday during the post show, I was given information that the athletes were telling me as we were live on the air. So I learned that yesterday. All right, let's move on to our next question prompt here, which is, what ideas didn't make it to the PGF? So we're here. We got a lot of good ideas. You see so many of them in display in the background. But it does beg the question, were there a few ideas that kind of didn't make the cut? I think for this particular juncture, we're going to start on over with you, Jake Watson. Jake, what is a potential area that got cut?
Well, I heard from a little birdie that the cash prize was actually going to be an all-expenses-paid trip to Decatur, Alabama, complete with these attractions that I happened to know off the top of my head because they are just that amazing. It includes a free package. A free passage to the Point Mallard Water Park, Wheeler National Wildlife Refuge Center, and the Cook Museum of Natural Science. Now, that is a hefty deal, so they decided, well, we can't afford that, so we're going to give out a $120,000 total cash prize instead.
Wow. Makes you really think at the end, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Glad they made certain
bit.
calls, certain audibles here at the end.
Yeah.
Tim, this was your prompt.
Yeah.
And I'm most intrigued to hear what you have
Great.
for us.
So I did a little research. I reached out to producer Keelan, and I also reached out to the First Lady, Lindsay McCatherine, to get some info here. And one of the interesting things was they originally planned in season 2 to have a halftime show.
Oh.
Yeah, Brandon was going to roll around on skates and sing I Believe I Can Fly as he played his guitar, a la Usher at the Super Bowl.
Usher.
Usher, yeah. They dropped that idea, but I actually reached out to the commish himself, and I'm going to read this quote, so just pardon me for a second. He said, "Dude, we thought about having the alternates sit around the mat at all times with microphones, and we were going to have them heckle the athletes, and we were going to run it as a separate stream so you could just hear the heckling audio. We were going to call it the peanut gallery. Now, I think there's still options for that to happen. I think that that's a viable idea. I would like to see that. I would love to hear what the alternates have to say. These guys are kind of standing around hoping they get into a match, so I think that would give them a little opportunity to blow off some steam and maybe play some head games.
Didn't you pitch yesterday how you think that people should be rounded up who don't advance? Would you mind sharing that? I'll defer my time to that.
You want me to say? Okay,
Absolutely.
So
tell them what you think we should do for the
once
post show.
you're mathematically eliminated, and we know you're not going to be in the playoffs, we do want to give you some shine time. We do want to get you in here so you could, get your face out on the post and the pre-show. So what I'm thinking is we could round everybody up at once, bring them in a line, and just set them down. And Raf can just ask questions and more or less go, hey, raise your hand if you had a good time. Raise your hand if you think you want to come back. Raise your hand if you're going to go eat Chipotle after. I think that would be a great idea. Probably not going to go through. Probably won't be able to get the athletes on board. But I think that could be a key piece of content that we're missing. Hit me up. I'd love to do it.
There was a part of me that thought, raise your hand if you've been abused. Specifically by Andy Varela.
Oh,
you may be entitled to financial compensation.
All the couches. We'll have to line all the couches up here then.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go to our next segment here. And this is an important one because a lot of people have just been talking about ex-Marshall teams. But if you notice the point differentiation between even my fantasy team and the other gentleman here, it's that everything is catch-upable. Like, everything is within the realm of still being different than what we know. So a lot of people are saying ex-Marshall is going to walk away with it. I thought this is a perfect opportunity for us to give advice to those non-ex-Marshall teams. I'm going to start with you. Tim, what do you have for us?
Well, the thing about ex-Marshall that I realized that the other teams don't have is ex-Marshall's got that dog in them. And when I say dog, I mean a very, very small, under 10 pounds dog. So if you really want to make a name, I think you got to hit the Las Vegas SPCA, try to find a Pomeranian, maybe a little Chihuahua, get them up on your couch, get them protected, and that'll get you the win. But real talk, today's the day. Your team's got to make a push. If you don't do it today, everything changes tomorrow because you'll be irrelevant. You won't be here in the sense that you can get into the playoffs. So that's my team advice. Get that dog in you and get it fast, baby. Woof, woof.
Jake, what do you have for us?
I would agree with the second half of that.
The woof woof part?
No, the second half.
Oh,
the
okay.
woof woof is on top. I do agree with that as well. Because really you have to bring out the dog. You got to let it all hang out. The other teams, the team in second place is First Form, if I'm not mistaken, and they're already kind of nipping at the heels of the first place leader, ex-Marshall, but the other teams, you have to pull out all the stops. We have some people who are seated very high who might be knocked out of the top 8 if they don't make something happen today. And if the teams want to be continually in contention for that that $100,000 cash prize, my apologies, then they got to bring it all out. They got to bring out all the stops and just really go for the kill.
Just sort of got into your almost Al Pacino, give me all you got! Give me all you got! So that's what I'm hoping we get to today. That's my advice to you other teams. Give me all you got with less overacting. So I will tell you this, that leads nicely into our next topic, which is we're going to get into some predictions. Listen, today's a big day. Today we're going to kind of figure out who statistically is still in the race. And we want to hope for all of our friends to make it, but realistically, there's only going to be 8 individuals who make it to the playoffs. I'd like to know now from both of these gentlemen who they think those 8 people could be. Now, you don't have to list all of them, but give me your greatest hits of the people that you think will make it, as well as maybe somebody you don't necessarily have on a list that you think may come around and make a comeback. I'm going to start with you, Jake Watson.
So I'm going to actually just very quickly list who's in the top 8 because that's part of my prediction. Davis Asari, Jet Thompson, Daniel Sadler, David Evers, Andy Varela, Ben Eddy, Elijah Carlton, and Nathan Haddad. I'm going to make a bold prediction and say that it's not going to change. I think that that's going to be our top 8. I think that they've had a great run, and if I'm looking at the path to victory for the people who are outside of that top 8, it is tough. And like we have said multiple times on this pre-show, it could change. Today is the most important day of the tournament so far. So that's a bold prediction, but it's my prediction. And if I'm wrong, then it will be like the other times in the bullpen where I was wrong, and I'm just going to have to eat it, and Raph will make fun of me online.
We're going to make fun of you anyway.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't need permission to make fun of you or a reason. Tim, talk to me about yours.
Well, I think there's a few locks at the top. Asare, Varela, Thompson. I think those guys are getting in. I think Carlton has a real good chance to get in just based on his experience. He's a pretty savvy PGF competitor. We've already kind of seen that on display in his coaching style, even though he's not a coach right now. There's some guys that are on the bubble, and I think two of them have a good, strong chance to get in there. And I'm joined by Coach Edgy Bravo right now. Yeah.
Ignore me.
Yeah. So we got Canuto, Barch, and Hansen that I believe are on the bubble. I think we're going to see a big push from Canuto and Barch to kind of move up into that playoff spot. I think they have a real good chance. I'm not sure Hansen's going to be able to wiggle in there. He might. Guys that are kind of in danger, I think, are potentially Haddad, unless he can really keep going, doing what he's doing. He may have a chance to keep on it. And then Ben Eddy, I think, is one guy that's going to have to fight real hard to keep his spot in that top 8. So those are my locks. A few guys on the bottom, but I think Canuto and Barch got a strong chance to get in there.
My prediction is I think your head just got pregnant.
Yeah.
And you're going to be carrying Eddie Bravo's baby in your head.
You think I could just, grow some hair back, maybe? I would take that.
I don't know. So I'm just saying, we'll get to there. Let's do this. We're going to go to our next one, which is uphill. This is important because, listen, a lot of us have looked at the upcoming matchups, and I'm sure a lot of you have done studies that are akin to one egghead. But the question is, who faces the biggest uphill battle today? Let's go ahead and start with you, Tim. Who faces the biggest journey to make it to that playoff?
Well, I think it's Max Hansen. If you look, he's got to fight Jet Thompson. We're not sure about Combs. I'm assuming that we're going to see Sam in there replacing him today, and he's got to fight Davis Asari, and then he's got to follow that up with Varela, Haddad, and Cam Hurd. So those guys are not easy to finish. Those are tricky scores to get. So I think that he probably has the biggest uphill battle in terms of staying near the playoffs and being able to get into the playoffs. Obviously, the lower guys that are kind of at the bottom right now, they're probably not going to be able to get in unless they have a real big day today. So I would say Hansen's that one guy that's got a real shot to either make it or break it.
Fair enough, Jake.
I think his Black Rifle teammate, PJ Barch, has a similarly difficult path to victory. He has battles ahead of him in Kevin Buring, AJ Agazarm, Elijah Carlton, Kevin Sherrill, David Evers, and Hanato Canuto. Now, Kevin Sherrill, I believe, is the only person on that list to have been submitted even a single time. So PJ Barch being the number 1 seed and outside of that top 8, he's going to need to put together a string of victories that can really put him in contention for it. And I think he has a very tough road ahead of him. I mean, AJ Agazarm, it's like the guy's made of rubber. It's like the guy has no neck. He just does not get choked. He does not get tapped. And you've seen that throughout his entire career. PJ, of course, is capable. That is no mistake. There's a reason he is the number 1 seed, but he's going to need to have a borderline perfect next couple of days, I think, if he wants to make that top 8 and really make his name secure.
Here's the great thing, though. PJ has been at big pressure moments, and it just takes one good day of a Polaris sort of tournament to turn things around here. So,
absolutely,
it's an entirely possible thing. Speaking of possible thing, let's get now to our peanut gallery. Who knew that the peanut gallery was a whole thing that they wanted to do beforehand, too? It's good to know. Our peanut gallery is, we're trying to figure out what people have been saying online. Yes, we have eyes, and we're definitely making sure that we keep them on those chat sections. So we're going to pull a few comments for you that you guys can go ahead and take a look at. Gentlemen, I think, Jake, this one is yours.
So John Mejia says, I wish they had different rash guards for each day, like home and away, and a third jersey, if you will. Now, this is actually a super cool idea. I really appreciate the good advice from the comment section. Man, as PGF World grows and we do get more of the team aspect, as it gets closer and closer to the NFL of Jiu-Jitsu, I could definitely see this being a possibility. So I like that idea.
Cool. Let us see the next comment. Tim, this seems like yours.
This comes from Kevin, probably from the streets. Kevin says, here's my idea. We should drink every time someone says BMAC. The question is, what should we drink?
Well, there's only one choice there. Right there, baby. Once upon a coconut.
Hold on, wait. Have we cleared this with BMAC? Oh.
That's one.
That's so darn good, dude.
Oh, that is really good.
It's really.
I haven't had it yet.
Actually,
Are you
really
That
serious?
was
good.
an actual live first taste test.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
Cheers.
have another one.
Once Upon a Coconut, thank you so much. We appreciate all the beautiful sponsorship you are giving to the athletes and now us. Thank you. Very nice of you. All right, let's move on to the next one. Post your account details and I will wire you some money. Now, I didn't believe them at first, but then there was a smiley face at the end.
Oh.
So I guess now I should send them money.
It's a very trustworthy
You
smiley
know,
face.
if they didn't put the smiley face, I wasn't going to do it. But
Yeah.
now I'm in the mode where I'm going to send them my paycheck, guys. I think this is a solid investment. Let's roll on to the next one. Needs a pit. Okay. Let me get into this one. I see so many people in the comment section saying this needs to be a pit. You can have different events. You guys don't have to just watch one. This is what we're doing here. And it's not to say it's what we're always going to do. But just because you see one thing doesn't mean it solves everything. That's the beauty of competition. You want people to have variety. If you guys show up with just one thing, you're going to make things very boring, and then you're going to complain about that. So what I'm telling you is enjoy the ride. If you had a pit, you would have gotten the whole let's go on out to the cheap seats over this way when they went and almost killed a dog, everybody. I'm just saying.
Almost.
Almost.
No
Dogs
dog
was
was
harmed in
Yes,
this. Let's
dog
make
was not
that
injured.
very clear. But ladies and gents, I believe that's pretty much going to round a third for us here on this show. You don't want to go anywhere. We're about to throw now to the actual telecast, but I want to remind you guys, as soon as the action is done here, you can catch the post show with us. That is myself, RAF ESPARZA, Tim Freeman, and Jake Watson. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us all night. When we do the post show, anything can happen. I mean that because I planned a certain show and then it all kind of went out the air. So you want to tune in for that. But for right now, we're going to kick things back on over to the main broadcast crew. On behalf of us here at your post show, thank you so much. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.